Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another daily drop here on TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI publisher Andrew Jones, and the topic today, Carolina basketball. Tar Heels are just a few days away from kicking off the 2023-24 season. We have been grinding up to the start of the season with the football-basketball overlap that has been here for a while, pumping out all kinds of content, written stuff, and podcasts as we build toward the start of the Tar Heel season. Year 3 under Hubert Davis, year 5 for Armando Bacot, year 4 for RJ Davis, and year 1 for 5 transfers, and year 1 for 2 freshmen, including ballyhooed point guard Elliot Cadeau. We're going to talk about Elliot, going to ask the question and answer it. Is there too much pressure on Elliot Cadeau heading into the season? Before I get into that very quickly, a reminder, this show is sponsored by Underdog Fantasy. We'll have a message from Underdog Fantasy coming up in several minutes. So is there too much pressure on Elliot Cadeau? It's a simple question. I think it's a fair question. And I think it's something that Hubert might be trying to diffuse some by Elliot not yet being in the starting lineup. I'm not saying that Hubert is consciously saying, I'm going to pull the pressure off this kid and not start him right away. I think Hubert looks at his lineup out there and says, I really like the way these guys work together. Those are my starters, and I've got to bring Elliot along. Remember, he comes from the Dean Smith school. He cites Dean more than he cites Roy, even though he worked for Roy. But Dean would bring freshmen along. However, it's Roy who brought along Kendall Marshall. And those are the comparisons. And I think that might be how this thing plays out. If you remember, Kendall came on board, and it was very apparent that the offense ran better with him than it did with Larry Drew at the point. And eventually, Roy made the decision to swap starting point guards. Kendall was playing about half the game, but he was just better. The better point guard for that team. I'm not saying he's a better player, just better point guard for that team. And eventually Roy made the move, and that team took off, got to the regional final where they lost to Kentucky and Newark, New Jersey. Probably should have won that game. Should have gotten to the Final Four. That was a nice run for that club. That was Harrison Barnes' rookie year as well, freshman year as well. So it's possible that's part of it. It's also possible that Elliot, who reclassified to 2023, turned 18 in early September. He's a very young guy compared to what else they have on the floor. The current starting lineup, RJ's 22. Paxton Wojcik is 22, almost 23. He is 23, I think. Cormac Ryan's 25. Harrison Ingram is 21. Armando Bacot's 23. And Elliot's 18. And if you see him up close, and I've talked to him up close in person, he looks 18. So that might be part of it too. So is there too much pressure on him? I think there's a couple ways you look at it. From the outside world, I think the expectations are that he's going to be insanely good. He's going to be sick. He's going to be amazing. People are looking for the wizardry from Elliot. People expect him to just drive and find everybody. They expect him to be the best passing point guard since Kendall Marshall. Whenever people talk about Elliot, they bring up Marshall, they bring up Ed Cota. In my time covering athletics, I'm in my 28th season, and I've covered UNC basketball in some capacity in all 28 of those years. By far, Ed Cota and Kendall Marshall are the dime droppers. They're the lead dime droppers. And everything I've been told is Elliot's in that category. But does he have to be that good this year for this team to reach its goal? Can he be a 15-minute off the bench guy that allows RJ to slide over to the 2 and also get a rest? Or does he have to be a 25 or 30-minute guy eventually, like Kendall became, for this team to ultimately reach its potential? And if that means Paxton Wojcik eventually coming off the bench, I'm sure Paxton will handle the role fine. And that's probably a move that wouldn't really be shaking things up much. It might be a natural move that eventually happens. But everything that we have been told, Elliot will come off the bench initially. And I'm just kind of curious if that happens and he's playing 15 minutes and he looks really good, does the pressure mount by people toward Hubert to play him more? Will people wonder if Elliot's as good as they thought? You know how fans are? You know how you guys are? Look at how everybody's going on about football right now. Okay, 2 bad losses in a row, but people are acting like they're 0-8. Mac needs to go because they're 6-2. Well, not many Carolina football teams have been 6-2. Basketball fans tend to overreact even more at North Carolina because it is more part of the DNA. It's more part of the culture. We don't talk about the Church of Carolina football. We do talk about the Church of Carolina basketball. And Elliot Cadeau is now in that church. He's in this congregation. And the expectations are very high that at some point he's going to be not good, but a great player. But is Hubert diffusing some of that? I would love to know what you guys think, if he's diffusing some of that and if you think it's a good idea, or if he's that good, roll him out there, let him start, get rolling now, and that's what needs to be done. I don't know, because I haven't seen him play in a game. I know what I'm told by people in the program. I know what Armando told me last week. I know what RJ told me last week. And I have a fair amount of faith in what they say. They're also very optimistic. Armando said quite clearly that Elliot coming off the bench. When RJ needs a break, RJ gets in foul trouble. If RJ misses defensive assignment, coach could put Elliot in. So Elliot comes off the bench. I think the way those guys are talking about him, yeah, he's amazing, but also we've got so much else, and he's just one part.
Yes, guys, we are so excited to be partnered with Underdog Fantasy. And we decided to partner with Underdog because it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and it's also the fastest growing fantasy app in the industry right now as well. And Underdog Fantasy has so much to offer, including their Pick'em game. And in Pick'em, you pick whether your favorite players will have a higher or lower stat total in this week's game for a chance to win big. It's so easy to play. Just pick 2 to 5 stats of your favorite players and choose whether they'll go higher or lower. And you can 20x your money by going just 5 for 5. They also have a Best Ball Mania. If you think you know football, you need to check this one out. This year's Best Ball Mania has $15 million in total prizes up for grabs, with the winner taking home $3 million. So sign up today with the promo code HEAL, HEEL, and get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Visit UnderdogFantasy.com or find them in the App Store. And don't forget to register with that promo code HEAL to get your first deposit doubled up to $100. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. And if you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ncpgambling.org. Back to the show.
I don't think the expectations for him are so great within the program because they're high for everybody. They're high for Jalen Withers. They're high for Seth Trimble. They're high for everybody that's there. These guys think they're going to be really, really good. It's not just because of Elliot. If they didn't have Elliot, I still think they'd be really good. And I think that they would be really good. But they do have him. And a lot of people out there have already thrown dirt on Hubert because they found out that Elliot wasn't starting right out of the gate. I know that when I ran videos of the practice we went to, and people saw the white team out there, and they didn't see Cadeau, and they saw Wojcik, boom, immediately people were ticked off. I say pump the brakes. I say lower the expectations because he is 18, and they don't need him to be great just yet. They might eventually, but they don't just yet. That, if it happens, it will happen normally. I kind of like the way Hubert's doing this. Let things play out. Basketball season is a long season. I tell you guys every year, take a snapshot in mid-November, take a still, if you will, and then put it up against a snapshot in mid-February. Often it's a different team. Not just a different in how they're playing, but in the composition of who's getting most of the minutes, the rotations, the player groupings, that kind of thing. So I do think there's a lot of pressure on Elliot, but I think Hubert's done a nice job of diffusing that. Whether it's intentional or not, I do think some of it's been diffused. And I think that's good. You've got the all-time leading rebounder there. You've got a 4-year starter in the backcourt there. You've got guys who are accomplished that have been other places in Power 5 basketball. You don't need to have all this pressure on a dude who hasn't taken one shot in a real college game yet. That's a good thing. Now, the pressure may build during the course of the season, but right now, I don't think it's that great. Not coming from around the program. You guys may have it, but I don't think he feels it yet. I don't think he feels it yet. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. Do you think there's too much pressure on him? Do you think the pressure will build if he doesn't start? Do you think there's going to be pressure on Hubert to play him even if the regular starting 5 that includes Wojcik is doing really well? You let us know what you think. If you do like how this is being handled, click like on this video. If you don't like how this is being handled, click like on this video. We just want you to click like. Like is a good thing on these videos. Make sure you go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you get updates every time we upload a video, which is often. And let all your Tar Heel friends know we're here. Carolina football, Carolina basketball, recruiting for both sports. We're all over it. David and I are going to do some basketball recruiting stuff coming up here again. It's been sort of quiet for a while, but we're going to be hitting on that. And of course, we do regular videos throughout the course of the basketball season. And in fact, we're just about ready to do our basketball preview podcast that we uploaded last night because I'm running this on Friday. Anyway, I'm AJ, and I appreciate you stopping by.